Welcome to Thursday, everyone. Kyle's in Atlanta. I'm home base for me in Syracuse. And the reason we're coming to you like 17 to 20 minutes late is because they couldn't fix the dang baggage conveyor in time.
Here I go. The people really want to know who I is and who I be.
Dang, this is why I don't fly with baggage, people.
This is why we can't have nice things, Paul.
You know, there's a flight. It's like 40 minutes for Kyle from Nashville to Atlanta. We're looking last night. Oh, no problem. I'll be on the ground. We'll do the show. It's a sunny day. Like first flight of the day. We're like, it'll never go wrong.
Clear. I've been to Atlanta. I don't know how many times out of Nashville in the morning, literally never had a delay. And then this morning they get on. We're sitting there for probably 15, 20 minutes. And everyone's kind of looking around like, okay, it's Nashville to Atlanta. This shouldn't be that hard. They come on and they're like, so the news is literally the baggage conveyor belt that gets the baggage from the front of the airport to the back of the airport has shut down. And they're manually
it's an airport thing.
Yeah, we looked at like literally every airline is down, and we look out, and these guys, they're literally like hand carrying because I can see it hand carrying stuff.
It's a rough morning. Props to the folks at the Nashville in BNA this morning, hand carrying baggage. Speaking of being at speaking of Nashville, stop. Hey. I'm just gonna hit stop right there. nice with the little graphic on the screen. Yo, we're less than a week away. Tuesday, December 20th. We're doing the year-end live stream. I'm wheels up with my family to Nashville to come hang out with you and your family tomorrow. And we're gonna see the town a little bit, get set up so that we can be fully prepared for the year-end extravaganza. We got people flying in to be guests. We got a live studio audience. We got a live band. We have producers. We have cameras and lights and set deck. We have all the stuff. So December 20th, mark your calendar between 2 and 4 p.m. Eastern, or go to our LinkedIn page or just go to asotu.com, get all the details for however you want to watch it. But please be there with us on the live stream on Tuesday. It's gonna
check out the live stream online if you're in Nashville, Birmingham, Louisville, Atlanta, Jackson, Memphis, anywhere like those surrounding areas. Come on in. We've got a whole bunch of people. Just kind of, it's gonna be a little familial atmosphere. I got like probably 5 or 6 texts. Hey, I know I haven't bought my tickets. I'm coming. I'm gonna be there. So it'll be
join us live. Yeah, join us live and we even have a game show. We have a game show.
Full ridiculous.
Do we talk about the name?
Paul goes, I'm explaining the game show because when Paul was sick the other day, we kind of figured out the game show. And he's like, so you're telling me that the same people are going to be doing the same things and everybody's going to be
I still don't know if that's going to work. I still don't know if that's going to work. But if you want to see the people that you respect in automotive make total fools of themselves trying to draw things and guess what they are, with Michael Cirillo as the host, then you need to be on the live stream. We've also got a lot of great collaborators helping us out. A lot of great well wishes you're going to get to see from across the industry. And we're going to talk about 2023 and what we think is going to happen there. So please don't miss it. And the fact that December 20th is one of my favorite days because a year in extravaganza, my usual favorite day of the winter season is actually December 21st, otherwise known as winter solstice. It's a different date every year, but it's the day that the days start getting longer again. That means it starts to reverse and the sunlight starts to catch back up to the darkness. And in upstate New York and the Northeast in general, that is a very, very welcome day. We're celebrating. So days are getting long again. So let's get into some news. So we like to give you EV updates every once in a while. We batch a few together to make it easy for you to follow along. So we're going to talk about Toyota, Mazda, and Rivian today. Toyota is set to announce, according to inside sources, detailed changes to its EV strategy with key suppliers next year as it tries to narrow the gap between, them and like Tesla and BYD.
I wish we had a little trigger pad. There's like under pressure, right?
Right. So they're feeling it. And so here's the real deal. I had to look into this a little bit because I was like, okay, great strategy that they're going to change something. What kind of news is that? But basically, possibly, but likely plans to succeed their 3-year-old is it e-TNGA? TNGA platform.
Who knows?
Which is basically, they developed the e-TNGA platform, I'm just going to call it that, to be able to produce EVs on the same manufacturing lines as their gasoline powered engines. So it was like a compromise, right? Naturally. It's not going to be super efficient for either, but they thought, hey, we're going to need to make 3.5 million EVs a year. But that number now is more than like triple, almost quadruple. So plans of like abandoning that almost after 3 or 4 years and going dedicated EV lines is something that they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the classic split. Everybody kind of saw it like going a little bit slower, being on the same kind of lines, and then we've seen manufacturers complete their whole business, split their whole business model. Now it's like, yep, no, we got to split the assembly plants, or at least figure out a new assembly line process for this. I'm gonna leave it to Tesla to probably lock that down pretty solidly, or not Toyota. Toyota to lock that down solidly, just because their manufacturing processes. But you can see the pressure coming from all sides, both politically and from consumers asking for more of these EVs. And I'm not shying away from it. Speaking of things I'm not shying away from.
Sweet.
Segue.
This one's for you, baby. Whenever I see Mazda, I think of you.
Man, I'm still a Mazda through and through, even though I'm not working for them anymore. I wish Mazda had every type of vehicle line that I could ever want, because I just enjoy the drive. But they are finally releasing a nationwide vehicle. The Mazda CX-90 will be its first plug-in hybrid electric vehicle available nationwide. It's going to be based on a current vehicle, the XC60, which is already available in Europe. And it will be.
I think we're looking at a Kia Telluride right now, everybody. If you're watching a live stream, little disclaimer.
I was looking at that. I was like,
nah. A Kia Telluride snuck in. I was like, that looks a lot like my Telluride. Oh, it is a Telluride. Just for you, I got to give you a little disclaimer. We know the difference.
They do look very similar, though. But combined miles per gallon would be 157 miles. So, it's for Mazda. I think they're going to get it right. They've got the Toyota partnership. The vehicles always look amazing, and they've been slow to market just because they have, like we've talked about this before. Their miles per gallon averages are so high that they're not battling against like EPA guidelines, and so they've been a little slower to market with hybrid and EV technology. But I think similar to Toyota, they're going to come to the market winning because their powertrain technologies are always strong.
No doubt. If that car comes with that gas mileage and that EV, for a commuter like me, my commute is short enough that I could get through a whole week on a gallon of gas. We'll take it.
Go.
We will take it. Last in the EV lineup, Rivian and Mercedes-Benz have put their plans to develop multiple new electric delivery vans on hold. Rivian's concerned about spending too much money on this whole venture. And we know that Rivian's already cutting back. They're kind of on their heels a little bit, being very careful about where they're spending their money. Mercedes is like, okay, that's cool. We're still gonna, we can develop this on our own, no problem. So this is like one of those, like, it was big news when it got announced, because Rivian stock grabbed a 10% bump, and when they announced this, it lost 10%. So I guess no harm, no foul, unless you bought it the wrong time or sold it the wrong time.
Yeah, everyone's jockeying for position and relationships at this point, and I thought that the Rivian Mercedes-Benz, especially just because of the platforms, the look, the feels, made a whole bunch of sense. Sure. But I can understand where the changes in markets and the change in an economy is definitely gonna change that. Mercedes is definitely pressing the boundaries on design right now. So we'll see what it comes.
The EV, like the partnership, is like a lot like college rules right now, right? It's like Friday night college rules. Things that made a lot of sense at one point no longer make any sense once you grow up and get a little bit more mature. So, I'm just kind of taking all the relationships in the EV world, just like Friday night college rules back in the day. All right, we got a couple more news stories. Well, speaking of all this clean energy.
Segue.
Time.
This is a day that I've been thinking of since Back to the Future 2 came out. And, the professor had Mr. Fusion on the back of the DeLorean. So with nuclear fusion is like happening for real. And this is like combining two atoms. Basically, they combine two atoms together to create energy, right? So like a nuclear bomb, all that comes when you split an atom apart and it creates this energy. Obviously, you can't really harness that, or you still takes a lot of energy to break it apart. This is putting atoms together. And for the first time ever in history, do we have the picture of that? Did you already put it up? Did I miss it? Look at this machine. That's an actual machine. It looks like something out of, like Marvel Infinity War that is going to create interdimensional travel. I can't believe that's a functioning machine, but basically they put two atoms together. It does something to the nucleus that create, and finally they were able to create a net positive energy gain. Meaning by do this, they created more energy than it took to do it. Funding for these types of things is skyrocketing. This announcement, they were already saying calls are flooding in from investors saying, can we invest here? Can we invest here? Although they're saying commercialization of this, it's going to take years, probably decades before it's producing something. But I guess that's, I mean, it's the future of clean energy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
movies have been made about it.
I think it's a lot of the future of clean energy. And when you think about like looking at that, if you were to pin that up against a computer in 1960, 1970, right?
They look kind of the same size.
It's the same look. Now, this has a lot more to do with like bringing together very, very volatile, things, right?
Yes,
it's extremely volatile, but the benefit here of having a net positive gain as compared to like losing energy trying to make one nuclear fusion happen is a massive step, because now everything from here is positive up. And I think that the money invested is probably going to go a pretty long way at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. All right. Finally today, move over mainstream media. It's kind of something we say around here a lot anyway. A new report by Reuters shows that young users are increasingly using, get this, wait for the big surprise here, they're using TikTok as their go-to news source. Now, we already knew that over 40% of those same users use TikTok for search. We've talked about that on this show. Like when you want to find a restaurant, you don't search Google, you search TikTok, right? Because you trust the people, you don't trust the man. But now it's trending into finding their news. Also, when asked which outlets they trust, so like they're already going to TikTok for their news, and they say, well, where do you go for your news?
This is wild.
36% of them go to internet personalities, so that are personalities talking about the news.
Wow.
18% is the next highest, which is ordinary people. So those two together equal 54%, right? So I'm going to listen to
all the
internet personalities that have no vested interest in being sensational for me to come back to them. And
not at all.
Just any old ordinary person, right? We'll trust them with the news. And then a distant third is mainstream media at 14%. And not surprisingly, coming in last, only 8% of them would trust a politician for the news. This is honestly the future, dude.
It's wild. Like we have to think about this as a culture, as people that are being informed, and even just like from a specifically auto perspective, like how are people, moving from like, okay, Consumer Reports in the 90s, early 2000s was the authority on what vehicle should I buy, to now like, what's the authority on what vehicle should I buy? Influencer and internet personalities and ordinary people sharing their stories about vehicles that are in the market right now. Like that's where people are going to find out what they should do next, from purchase behaviors to political understanding to news, mainstream media. All of that type of stuff is living on platforms like this. So like if you're not thinking about that as a business, even relating to that night, it might not even be you doing social, but understanding that that's where people are garnishing their opinions. That's a big deal in business.
You do realize where this places us.
Can you call us mainstream media yet?
No,
let's hope.
No, I'm saying
internet personalities.
I'm being gratuitous, but I'm placing us as internet personalities right now.
Let's do it.
We are certainly not ordinary.
No, definitely not ordinary
people. Yeah, but I think this is the game. Like you watch how, and if you were to look at the data a little bit more, you realize like on Facebook it looks a lot different, but still ordinary people actually rank pretty high. Although mainstream media ranks a lot higher. If you think about the demographic, grew up trusting mainstream media. There's just a growing distrust around mainstream media. When you look at the next generation coming through, like that's not going to get any better. So I think people that are curating, we like to call them the DJs that play all the good songs, right? You can't listen. And so like the need for the personalities to really stay true to the facts from multiple sources. And, you're going to get their flavor of commentary, but really, I mean, that is going to be the game in the next 20 years for sure. So it's fun to be on this side of it. It's fun. Let's go. So speaking of fun, we got a lot of running around to do. Kyle's in the dirt with some dealerships today. I'm holding down the fort at home. We're all putting together the year-end extravaganza on the 20th. Mark your calendar, go on LinkedIn, join the event right now, and go crush something this Thursday already.